Hi, my name is Adam Korniawan and I go to Global GIS School. This video is my personal project product. My product is a video which gives an overview about what I have done for my personal project. To start things off, I would like to give an outline of what I was investigating and what the goal of my personal project is. I am concerned with the issue of improper waste disposal in Jakarta, which I believe results in damage towards the natural environment. Most specifically, the plants and trees which surround the areas with improper waste disposal. This is mostly apparent in lesser developed areas where proper means of liquid waste disposal simply hasn't been installed, and the common people potentially lack the knowledge of the effects of improper liquid waste disposal for dangerous chemicals. Because of this, I chose to create a personal project which analyzes the extent of damage caused by improper liquid waste disposal by creating a small-scale version of the issue, by creating a controlled science lab which analyzes the effects of these common waste liquids on plants. The goal of my personal project is to investigate and analyze the effects of contaminated liquids found around Jakarta on the growth of plants, and then use my results to advocate the issues of improper waste disposal in Jakarta, which leads to contaminated waters that affect the environment negatively. In this case, I am referring specifically to plants. The audience for this project is the general public. Through this experiment, I have monitored and analyzed a small-scale version of how liquid waste in Jakarta affects the growth of the plants in the area. The results of this project have been all compiled up into this one video, so you guys can really understand how I reached my final conclusion. The global context that best fits for this project is scientific and technical innovation. I have chosen this global context because this project involves the interactions and relationships between people and the natural world or environments, because in this case, my project involves people as in humans disposing liquid waste and their relationship with the environment, which are the plants. My project has investigated the damage of human waste on these plants. My lab design includes 5 sets of 3 plants each. Each set has their own liquid which I have extracted from a site that is found commonly around Jakarta. These sites are, firstly, a house near my home that is discreetly using chemicals to dye clothes and are disposing the liquid waste out on the street. So I could just go to the house, take the water that they were disposing, and then feed it to my plants. Secondly, there was a hair salon. Thirdly, there was a local garage for oil change and servicing center. Fourthly, there was a laundry store. And fifthly, I was just getting a normal plant that is being fed uncontaminated water for comparison purposes so that I could see how a normal plant would be doing compared to those that were being fed contaminated liquid. The plant type that I have used in this experiment are sawi plants, simply because they grow fast and waiting on my plants to grow to a mature state can waste a lot of time. I have grown the plants for a month without giving them any of the chemical liquids, just water, so that they can grow to a more mature state so that I have more to work with. I then place silicone markers on the plants to distinguish their associated liquid that they will be fed, and I also marked their initial height before the liquid feeding experiment. So what I did was I got these silicone capsules and then I cut out these walls, and then it turns out to look more like this, okay? I placed this into the plant pot so I could show the initial height of the plant, and then I would also put a mark here like A, B, C, or D to show which chemical that they're being fed. In this case, this plant was being fed water, so I didn't put a marker on it. I only showed the initial height. So I went to these 4 locations and asked if I could get the liquids from the people who worked there, and I put any liquids that I got into these 2-liter plastic bottles so that I could keep track of how much liquid I was going to feed equally for all the plants. At the garage, I got car washing detergent. At the salon, I got a peroxide compound and dyeing solutions mixed with some normal shampoo. At the dye house, I just extracted water from a vent that was flowing out of their house onto the ground. On note of the dye house, this was just a house down my street that has been rumored to be discreetly running a dye business by dyeing clothes. It is quite noticeable, firstly, because there is a synthetic smell when you go by the house. Secondly, because they board up their fence and their walls so that people can't see into it, so it's really obvious that they don't want to be too public about what they're doing. And thirdly, because you can see them day by day dipping fabrics into liquid and hanging them to dry. The main issue with this that concerns me is that they dump their liquids out onto the street. So this is just a prime example of improper liquid waste management, or simply they don't know where else to throw the liquids. Nonetheless, I took the liquid that they were throwing out by using a pump that I got earlier with the help of my dad. At the laundry store, I managed to find out what they were using in their day-to-day use and just made a mixture myself, which was a softening agent, detergent, and bleach. Note that I don't even need to know what exactly goes into the water mixtures, because all I need to prove is that it causes damage to the environment. So I then proceeded to feed the plants for 10 days with their corresponding liquids and observed the effects. The plants initially look like this, and then by 10 days they look like this. I used the knowledge that I gained prior to the experiment from a local hydroponics vendor about signs of an unhealthy plant. So he told me that firstly, the plant needs to be dark and have a rich green color. If it's yellow, it requires nutrients that it's lacking, and it can also be potentially sick. Another thing I should look for is weak leaves and holes in the leaves. And finally, stunted height. Here is one of each of the plants that I grew. So right here we have the one fed with normal water. Here is the one fed with liquid A, which is laundry water. Here we have liquid B, which was fed with salon water. Here is liquid C, which is fed with dye water. And this is fed with liquid D, which is from the garage. Clearly we can see that the ones that were fed with waste chemicals show signs of unhealthiness. For example, if you look at this one fed with liquid B, the leaves are withered. There's stunted height, as you can see. The initial growth was here, and then it has gone down by 2 centimeters. So you know that the plant is unhealthy. As you can see, the plant has already fallen down. Most of the sprouts have already died. Also, there are holes inside the leaves, and they're also turning yellow. Here is even worse. Most of the plant has already died off. The leaves have already fallen off, and this one is pretty much dead. D has died off completely, while plant C has a little bit of plants left that's alive. As you can see, there's some green, but most of the sprouts have already died. There is an extreme loss of height. And then if you compare it to the plant that was fed with normal water, there has been an increase of height since the beginning of the experiment. All of the leaves are still green. There are no holes inside the leaves. So this one is pretty healthy compared to the rest of them. So it is quite clear that the effects of improper waste disposal does in fact have a negative impact on the surrounding environment. It is important for us to be aware of this issue so that we at least do not make the same mistakes in the future. Those of you who have watched this video, I highly recommend sharing this with another person, as this is not only an issue in Jakarta, but also in other countries that are less well developed. I want to advocate this issue now so that even though the effects of improper waste disposal may not be so apparent right now, dismissing it will only let the problem proceed to become greater and greater until the magnitude of the situation may have more damaging effects on the environment in the future. Thank you for spending your time to watch my personal project.